and the white man's already he was never arrested. He's already been released or whatever. So we want to dig into that as well too. So just a shout out to everybody that's in the space tonight. Also, guys, if you could go ahead and tweet the space out as well too. I'm gonna go ahead real quick and put those stories in the jumbotron. Just give me 1 second. We're gonna go ahead and put these actual stories in the jumbotron, and you guys go ahead and tweet out the space as well too. We're gonna be starting this up shortly. We're gonna get the ball rolling, getting the conversation. We're not even gonna delay it tonight. We're gonna go ahead because, like I said, the space is open earlier than it normally is, and it's gonna close a little bit earlier than it normally does as well too. So let me go ahead and start kicking it right now, and those who come in or whatever, they can come in and join the discussion as well too. So let me go ahead and get everything started. Okay, the first story I want to touch up on is the one about the actual black woman. It's up in the actual jumbotron. Her name is Devonna Walker. Its title is from Atlanta Black Star. It was published by Atlanta Black Star, curator on Newstoter.com platform. It says there's literally no excuse. White Iron Man caught on video fatally stabbing black woman during altercation is released. Outraged community at odds. An Iowa woman was fatally stabbed following an altercation with a white neighbor in Cedar Rapids after a man. What's that? You said? My bad. I got my mic on my back. Like, I'm sorry. Let me start that over. An Iowa woman was fatally stabbed during an altercation with a white neighbor in Cedar Rapids after the man called her a racial slur. According to reports, 29-year-old Devonna Walker died on January 2nd after she was called the N-word. Cell phone video captured Walker arguing with a white neighbor in front of an apartment building. Walker, wearing a red shirt, appeared to be arguing with a white woman wearing a black sweatshirt as a man opened the front door of an apartment and said, "Please just get inside." The woman in the black sweatshirt ignored the man and continued yelling at Walker as she held her dog on a leash on the front lawn. "So you come back after me again. I'm going to press charges again," the other woman said. After Walker responded to the woman with it, and this, I'm sorry, y'all, but this thing is sliding. This content thing, I'm reading it off the actual site. After Walker responded to the woman with an remark, the woman yelled, "Then go around. Nobody wants you around here." The man then yelled at Walker, "Shut the F up. Shut the F up, you effing nigger." Walker then pushed the woman down in front of the doorway before a man standing in the doorway immediately appeared to stab Walker. After stabbing, the woman accused Walker of faking injuries. Sorry, y'all, this thing is just constantly keeps moving up. Let me see if I can close this little box. Let me see where I left off at. After stabbing the woman, the woman accused Walker of faking her injuries with a mocking tone as her dog jumped up at Walker before she collapsed on the lawn. "Oh, she's playing stupid," said the woman. "She's playing stupid. Leave her alone. She's acting like the dog attacked her." It wasn't until several minutes later that bystanders realized Walker was bleeding and had been stabbed. After learning that the man stabbed Walker, a bystander cried, "Oh my God, this is all effed up." Another bystander replied, "They stabbed her." Officers from Cedar Rapids Police Department arrived on the scene at 6:44 p.m., approximately 6 minutes after Walker collapsed and found her on the ground and suffering from a stab wound. They performed CPR before transporting her to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. The man and woman were detained by the police but later let go. Angelina Ramirez from Advocates for Social Justice said, "There is no reason that arrest should not have taken place given the video footage and witnesses on the scene. It is not up to the police department to create a defense for her killer," said Ramirez. "There is testimony from witnesses. There is video footage of the killing. There is no excuse for an arrest not being made at this point. The black community, the brown community, mostly the black community, does not feel protected by the police. They don't feel like they're given the same due diligence under the law as white people are." Video of the incident has been making rounds on social media. While some viewers are outraged that no arrest was made in the case, others argue that the man who stabbed Walker acted in self-defense. "This girl came up to the door. There's literally no excuse," wrote YouTube user J Sleazy 5464. "This was clear self-defense. You can't attack someone because they called you a word, period. Iowa law says a person is justified in the use of reasonable force when the person reasonably believes that such force is necessary to defend oneself or another from actual or imminent use of unlawful force. Cedar Rapids Police Chief Wayne German and Lynn County Attorney Nick Mybanks released a statement after receiving a barrage of calls about the stabbing, asking why no arrests had been made. Because this is an ongoing investigation, we are not in a position to release any more details about the incident, said the release. We understand the family and the friends of Devonna Walker and our greater community want answers as to what happened, what led to Devonna Walker losing her life. We want answers as well, and that's why Cedar Rapids Police Department and Lynn County Attorney's Office are continuing to work together on this ongoing investigation. Devonna's mother, LaShawn Bowles, told Iowa News Now that she had not been contacted by the police department and had to go to the police stations for answers, which she did not get. Friday, I went to the police station. I want to know what's going on, she recalled. How come no one's knocked on my door? No one contacted me. I didn't even know where my baby was at. I hadn't seen her since all this happened. Friends and family gathered at Elevate Life Center in Cedar Rapids for a candlelight vigil for Walker on January 15th, according to a GoFundMe set up to cover her expenses. Walker had 3 children, including a newborn baby. So y'all see the police didn't even take time to even inform the girl's mother about what happened. I don't know how a man could intercede into an altercation with a woman, stab her to death, and then people want to sit up here and claim that that's actually self-defense. You know, the man didn't try to get in here and break it up. The man didn't try to pull them apart. The man didn't even physically throw the woman to the ground. He actually stabbed her and killed her. And like they said, both the people were let go. No charges. So you can see that this is going to be an ongoing situation right here. I just actually heard about this a couple of days ago, tweeted out. Professor, he also tweeted out as well too. He tagged me in an actual post, and I just let him know, like, yeah, I saw this, man. I went ahead and I put it out there, and they're saying it's making rounds on social media. I got that up in the actual Jumbotron. If you guys don't mind, actually go ahead and retweet that actual post out. It's in the actual Jumbotron. Help this story gain some more attention and some more traction. You got a man sitting up here. He decides to get into a situation between 2 women. And, most men would come out there and try to, break it up or whatever. But he goes in there and he stabs a woman to death. And then the woman's mother doesn't even know where her child's at, hasn't heard anything about it. The police, according to the actual report from Atlanta Black Star, haven't said anything to the lady about it. So this is the type of situation we got going on. Like I said, you got a man sitting up here, a man whose life was not in danger. I don't care what the Iowa law says about people being in imminent danger, protecting yourself or somebody else. No way was this man in imminent danger. No way was he in fear of his life. So, and then we see if this is going to also be charged as a hate crime as well too, since he managed to go ahead and throw the nigga up in there. So, will they also consider this as a hate crime as well too, because he did use a racial epithet before attacking, striking, and killing this female. So that's going to be something very interesting to look at. It's up to us to go ahead and try to help this story gain as much national traction as it is. It's already gaining steam, but everybody that's in the space right now, you can go ahead and you can retweet that out. That would also help as well too. Apparently, the police department's been getting hit with a barrage of calls. If we can find that number, somebody please put that in the Jumbotron as well too, and let's add to the actual barrage of calls that they're getting right now, because obviously they're not doing their job. They use a politically correct term to saying that they're investigating and this and that, and they don't want to jump to conclusions, yada, 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 yada. Simple fact is this man just killed an unarmed woman, and him and both his girlfriend, and the girlfriend shouldn't be charged, or the wife or whatever she is, she shouldn't be charged. The man that took her life should be charged. He was not an imminent threat. So if you can't defend yourself against a woman, if you can't even go out there and break up a female fight, and you got the only resort that you can do is actually take their lives, then yeah, you need to go ahead and serve some time behind bars. Let me go ahead real quick, y'all. I'm going to touch up on the actual situation that's happening in San Francisco. As many of you guys heard it, over there in San Francisco, they recommend potentially $5 million in reparation money. We're going to just touch up on that real quick. That's pretty interesting to see as well. Also, you had Black Republican Byron Donalds, who came out and criticized the actual even discussion that they're holding. So you can go ahead and touch up on that real quick. So everybody, thank you for coming into space tonight. We started a little bit early. We're going to be ending a little bit early. You guys, like I say, please go ahead and retweet that story out. Please go ahead and retweet that story about the sister losing her life and this gentleman, this white man that's sitting out here scot-free after he stabbed this woman, and he's sitting around here, has not been charged. So let's go ahead and let's help that story gain as much attraction, as much attention as we can. And real quick, I'm going to touch up on this other story tonight, the actual reparation that's going on in San Francisco. This is also in the Jumbotron, guys. You can take a look at that. It's from Black Enterprise, curated on the Newstoter.com platform. It says Black residents in San Francisco set to receive $5 million reparations payout. And excuse me, y'all, because a lot of times on these sites that we go to actually read the entire article, there are a lot of actual pop-ups and stuff coming. So it's kind of sliding the content back and forth. But Black residents in San Francisco set to receive $5 million in reparations payout. This is something Black people dream of. The San Francisco reparations community presented a healthy payback program for Black residents. The recommended sum, $5 million each. In the draft reported last month, the African American Reparation Advisory Committee claimed San Francisco showed progressive reform, but it was overshadowed by the country's racist reputation. While neither San Francisco nor California formally adopted the institution of chattel slavery, the values of segregation, white supremacy, and systematic repression and exclusion of Black people are legally codified and enforced, the report said, according to the National Review. Residents who identify as Black and are at least 18 years of age will receive a lump sum of cash under this plan. However, there are some strict requirements before payments. Residents must meet 2 of 8 requirements, like be personally or direct descendant of someone incarcerated by the failed war on drugs, or be descendant of someone enslaved through U.S. chattel slavery before 1865. The National Review reported that the committee also recommended compensation for families affected by education harms on Black students and comprehensive debt forgiveness program. The program will work to cancel student loans, housing loans, and credit card debt for Black residents with a chance to rebuild wealth. The committee hoped this will help heal decades of harm. A lump sum payment will compensate the affected population for decades of harms that they have experienced and will redress the economic opportunity losses that Black San Franciscoans have endured collectively as a result of both internal decisions and unintended harms perpetuated by city policy, the committee said. Other benefits of the proposal include homeowners grants for home maintenance and repair costs and first choice on selective housing units. While this was met with some cheers, some Black conservatives felt offended. As a guest on Fox News show, controversial civil rights attorney Leo Terrell claimed the proposal racist. We're talking about a racist program to benefit individuals who happen to be Black. $5 million. California was a free state. Who's going to pay for it? Terrell said, according to Fox News. Why should they get $5 million? Because of their skin color? It's insulting. There is a price C tag on this plan, according to Local 12. San Francisco would have to dish out $50 billion, and that's based on 10,000 people qualifying. The final proposal is to be set and submitted in June. So that's one article we're going to touch up on, talking about the actual reparations as well, too. Ray, I see you up in the spot as well. How you doing? Let me go ahead and send you that co-host invite. And yeah, and that's going to be a big issue because now we're tying in the war on drugs and we're tying in actual chattel slavery. And this is just opening up a Pandora's box right here at this point in time. It was fine when you were just talking about chattel slavery, but now, and then you start throwing all these programs in here, talk about housing and this and that and grants and all this other kind of stuff that you really should not want to even hear. You already have people on the conservative side, and they have been blasting this as well too. You know, the first thing I've been hearing is California was a free state. You can't get this kind of money to these kind of people, this and that or whatever. So this is really finna get the ball rolling. I don't like the thing that you're talking about, the war on drugs, and you're talking about white supremacy and this and that or whatever, because now the reparation claim is starting to get muddled. It was understood by everybody that initially we were talking about people that were actually descendants of slaves. Before you hand out any other money, you have to go ahead and take care of those who have the the main claim in this country, the biggest claim, and truthfully the only claim. So when you start talking about those who may have been affected and this and that and war on drugs, now you're talking about, I mean, Jesus Christ, you could be talking about up into the 70s and the 80s and stuff. There are a lot of people that was affected with the war on drugs. So that's not a good talking point at this point in time. And we know California, a lot of people were really hyped up over California and that delineation, but it seems like San Francisco is actually taking on another thing. Ray, it seemed like they flipped us around. They got you as the host and me as the co-host.
Well, it's not showing like that for me. It's still saying you're the host.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I'm seeing you as a host too, if that matters. Good evening, everyone. Hello to the room.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I got my Concerned Black American Citizens account back, so I don't know what's going on, but that's a good sign. It feels like it's been a good couple of days for reparations. I don't know, I feel a little optimistic, maybe because things have been so shitty, but I really want, how do I feel about this? I feel good about it, and I want us to process things like this in a more constructive way, because I think it's a good thing. I didn't realize it was just 10,000 people who were found eligible, but I think it's important, and I won't go too deep into it, but in a sense, it's going to be an easier road to hoe when we are looking at present-day disparities and closing those and the harms, that you can literally trace groups of people to pretty much protect you from any Supreme Court challenge. I know it says Black Americans, and then you have to be descended from either of those two groups. But the Black American part doesn't turn it into a race-based policy. Obviously, what those commentators said was wrong. So then, that's just hot air, and that will dissipate. But the $5 million, the $50 billion is for specific harms. And I think, I was in a room with, it was a white woman was hosting the room, and she was talking about this as well. And what I found, I just heard something very interesting. I've heard two things from white people who kind of waver back and forth between reparations in favor or not. But this one white man was saying, the whole thing about no slaves are alive, and yada ta 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 ta. But then when we started talking more about San Francisco, and he said, I would rather see something be done about the things that are happening right now, or what's wrong right now. And the more they discussed it, and he came to understand that it was for mass incarceration, redlining, etc., then he was like, oh, well, that makes more sense. I don't have a problem with paying for that, paying reparations for that, but I do have a problem with paying reparations for slavery. Now, some people feel very, very strongly about attaching slavery to any type of chattel enslavement, to any type of restitution that we get. But me, from a practical and a policy writing standpoint, legal, what my understanding of legal is, I'm going to look at, how best to write the policy, as opposed to, just relying on race or whatever. And I think that we don't really have that shouldn't be a concern at this point. And I think I'm rambling a bit there, but the $5 million, I think it's important that we understand that even if we assess a $50 billion price tag, that doesn't mean that it has to be paid out all at once. So I really don't necessarily appreciate when people say, well, their budget they can't afford that with their budget. We see all the time cities, municipalities, either they're shipping human bodies to the White House or to other people. You can ship a bill, FEMA or a natural disaster. Remember Sandy, the storm Sandy, and how Congress passed a bill to cover that bill. There's nothing that says that San Francisco, the state of California, can't say, well, this is a bill that we've been assessed, and now we need the federal government to come and assist us. But let's say that they have $50. I don't see why that can't be for those eligible people. Maybe it's not 5 million at once. Maybe it's lifetime payments in cash. Feel this, I'm sure, but lifetime payments of 50. I don't know, but the minute we start getting capital flowing through our community, that's going to have a huge ripple effect. The Japanese Americans were one of the poorest ethnic groups before they got their first reparations payment, because they did get more than one. But once they started getting that money flowing through their community, then they started wealth building. They started, world building. They started buying politicians, et cetera, et cetera. And now today we have AAPI, the Asian Hate Bill, et cetera, et cetera. All of that started with their reparations payments.
All right, thank you, sister. Let me give a shout out to Diane over there on YouTube as well, too. How you doing tonight, Diane? Let's go ahead and kick it to Black Native. How you doing, Black Native?
Hey, good evening, Newstoter. Good evening, Ray. Good evening, DJ. And reparations to the room. Let me speak about the white man who murdered our sister in cold blood while she was walking her dog. White people have deputized themselves in this country, and they've been doing that for quite some time. We just had two young 13-year-old black boys that were murdered, and neither one of those murderers have been charged. So they're still walking freely, breathing, I guess going to work and do whatever they do. And so this is another one. So this is what's happening. Not only are the cops doing this, now we have regular ass white folks who take it upon themselves to think it's okay to harm and murder black people and subsequently getting away with it. And so, we need to be calling that police department down in Iowa. I hope you posted the information, because I know I'm going to be giving them a call tomorrow morning. And if I have to blow up the phone, I'm blowing up the phone, because this is ridiculous. And I think it's a videotape. I didn't watch it because I'm really getting tired of seeing our people being harmed and murdered. So I don't think I'm going to watch it. So he needs to be arrested, charged with murder. His girlfriend, she's an accessory. The same thing they do with us. If you don't even commit the crime, but if you're there, you're an accessory to the crime. So she needs to be charged with either second-degree murder or manslaughter. So I think once the word gets out, they're gonna go around and arrest him. I think enough people might not know about this story yet. So I believe the black community is going to get together, do what we do, and then the police, put fire under these police officers' asses, and he's going to get arrested shortly and hopefully charged, not with manslaughter, first-degree murder, because it was intentional. I think he had been going back and forth with this woman for quite some time. I think he called her the N-word, and that's how the argument started. I'm going to say this for everybody in the room. Please practice your Second Amendment. Please, don't go up to anybody unless you strapped, because you don't know what they have. Because if she was strapped, and when he pulled that knife, she could have blasted his ass. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. Now, with the $5 million, I'm happy that they're considering giving $5 million to the people in San Francisco. I want to know, who are these two black men? Are they Black Americans? Are they descendants of slaves? Are they FBA? Are they Negroes? Since they seem to have a problem with black people getting their money. And like you said, don't muddy the waters. Don't start throwing in because of mass incarceration. Don't start doing any of that. This is specifically for enslaved people. That's what reparations is about, repair. The 300 years of free labor, the $24 trillion that this government had acquired off of the backs of our people. That's what reparations is about. We don't need them to start adding all this stuff because then other people could say, well, I was affected, by what happened in the 1980s during the contraband scandal. I was affected. See, that's how they put themselves in it. We need to keep it very specific. Keep it very specific because that will like you said, muddy up the waters. And once San Francisco passes that law, it's going to trickle down to all the other states. I'm in North Carolina. So yeah, they owe these people here and in Virginia and in Georgia and in South Carolina, all these southern states. And once we get the government, once they pay us our reparations, we should then go after the banks, after the colleges, after the insurance, all these other private industries that gained their wealth off of slavery. They're next. They're in our vision too. But yeah, let's keep our eyes on the prize and make sure that this is just lineage based. Period. And I'm gonna land my plane. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
As always, Black Native, appreciate you. Let me just tell everybody in the room tonight, we start at 7:30. We're going to be closing this space at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow, I do my mother's cremation service, so I'm not sure if I'm going to hold a space tomorrow. So I'll let you guys know, send out a notification if I do. But that's why I'm closing the space early tonight. My sister's coming in town, family's coming in town, so I'm going to go ahead and close this space out at 9 o'clock sharp tonight. And I'll see tomorrow about holding the space. I want to hold the space, but I'm going to see how I feel. I'm going to see what we're going to be doing as a family tomorrow, too. So if I don't hold one tomorrow, then I'll probably be back either Sunday or Monday night, guys. So just keep that as a reminder. Let me go ahead and say real quick for everybody that's in the space, make sure you are following Newstoter and the co-host up in here as well, too. Make sure you're following Newstoter and the co-host as well. I may ask DJ if he wants to hold the space later on so our people, maybe a part 2 of this, so y'all can keep it going, because like I say, normally I would start at 8 o'clock right now and went to 10 or later on, but family comes first, so I got to go ahead and take care of this responsibility tomorrow. Make sure that you guys, if you haven't, in the actual in the Jumbotron, you will see the newsletter as well as a YouTube channel. Please go ahead and subscribe to both of those. Please subscribe to both of those. Also, if you can support us on Cash App, it's $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned news curation platform today in America. So if you can support us on Newstoter, on Cash App, that's $Newstoter. If you don't have a Cash App, the PayPal and Venmo is also in the Jumbotron as well, too. Let me kick it. I'm going to go to Cash. Then I'm going to go to Tammy was up here, but she must have stepped down. Then we'll go to Judge Sarah, get to you, DJ, get back to you, Concerned Black. I know it's Yup, but we'll get back to you as well, too. So go ahead, Cash.
Hey, what up, News Team?
What's up now?
Peace to the room, to the family, you know what I'm saying? To everybody fighting for the check. That's first and foremost, you know what I'm saying? I'm already spending mine in my head, especially the California check, since they already put a deadline in July 2023. I first wanted to say that I saw about this San Francisco Reparations Commission or whatever almost a year ago when it was in the news, because I Google reparations every single day to see what's going on with it, like people do with sports or whatever. But in California, they had released this article. They were comparing the San Francisco task force to the California one, the one for the entire state of AB 3121. In my understanding, the way AB 3121 is written, it said that the task force had to be diverse based on the demographics of the entire state of California. And because of Filipino populations, Chinese, and Japanese, we had to have a Japanese dude on the task force, right? Don Tamaki. Now, that compared with the San Francisco task force, I actually pinned up above all the members who you can see. They're only Black American, which was the first prerequisite, which is why I was super interested in this task force. As well, they had to be from diverse backgrounds of the Black American community, including those who have been educated, those who've been incarcerated, those who are homeless. I don't remember what it was different age groups, different economic statuses. So people can take a look at who those members are and stuff. But this demand that they released, this draft letter, that mentions the $5 million lump sum, as well as $97,000 a year for 250 years, which is obviously an inferred rollover, which is obviously, it's not generational wealth because it's not assets, but it is generational, literally in 250 years being argued. I spoke to someone who's on this task force. His name is Rico Odo something. He's Black American on both sides. Both his families from Mississippi, as we asked him in the conversation.
Go on, Cash. Do that due diligence.
Come on, son. Like, people like, who's on the task force? I'm saying Google it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then as I hold a room with only 6 people in it, someone from the task force comes up on stage. So I ended up having a conversation with him direct. And he was like, there's a lot of public hearings. There's a Zoom link. Any one of us can call into the Zoom. But ultimately, this is for the people of San Francisco specific. And some of us had an issue with that. I can speak to that real quick. Cancer Alley exists. Rosewood happened. Black Wall Street happened. Those are individual instances that are owed. And I'm not going to step into those people's conversation and be like, why does San Francisco get $5 million? Well, California will get $5 million. Instead, y'all need to be saying that the state of California needs to pay 10 if San Francisco can offer 5, right? And on top of that, man, let me mention this. California has already said that they have a state constitution saying that they can't handle race-based politics. It has to be a lineage-based standard. So it's already going to be like that for San Francisco. Or it's not going to be passed, is what it is. I also want to mention that I mention Oregon all the time in that they're suggesting $123,000 a year in lifetime payments. That's already been upped by this California task force, this San Francisco one specifically, which has Amos Brown on it, by the way, Dr. Amos Brown, who's also on AB 3121.
Yeah, I'm saying that now. So that's a definite automatic. Give me my $5 million right now. If Doctor on the panel, you feel me?
Yes, sir.
You know what's so wild? Somebody said just the opposite when they heard he was on the panel. Like, I'm so glad you got this intel, Cash.
Yeah. So all that being said, the 97,000 is what I have an issue with. Not that it's 250 years, and that should be 400. Fuck it. But the 97,000, Rico, who I was speaking to in the conversation, said him and the other members on the task force. He said it was only 10, but there looks like to be 15 in this picture here. And so I don't know if he meant only 10 come on average or something like that, but he did clarify that they were Black American. He was saying that the 97,000, they calculated multiple different harms that happened to us in San Francisco specifically, and that they were able to get to a 5 million figure per Black American in San Francisco, and it was actually a little bit over 5 million. And he said with the rollover that they wanted to have some type of long-term strategy because a lot of people wanted their check up front. They weren't looking for no long-term strategy where they would receive lifetime payments, which is what Oregon suggested. But that lifetime payment's only until the day you die. With 250 years, that's a for sure rollover. So San Francisco, I got a shout out for being smart and suggesting that. But that 97,000, they tied it to the AMI or the area median income, which is I guess cost of living or something like that. We ain't going for that with reparations. They need to double that number and start by at least matching what Oregon offered. It shouldn't be less than Oregon offered. 97 versus 123. That's backwards. So that's what I told Rico, and he said I 100% agree with you. I didn't even know about the Oregon one, and I was ashamed. You know what I'm saying? Because we're a family. We're supposed to be going back and forth, making sure each other know about this. But all that to say, they're the task force members. It will be lineage based. There's no way around it. And shout out to San Francisco for the specific injustices that they survived. Because I didn't know too much about SF or about the Gold Rush, the 49ers, Fillmore District.
That's why I'll be saying, Jersey, you got to pay me $10 million. I need my bread.
Exactly.
Jim Crow and all. And Cash, real quick before you get on your plane. What's up with the checkbox system, my boy? That's looking. I'm gonna hawk you every time I talk to you.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that.
Cash, I'm from New York, but I don't live there. But I was born and raised there. Do I have to still live in that state? My mother was born there. I was born there, but I moved somewhere else. Do you have to live there when they start doing it, or does you qualify wherever you live?
And luckily, I'm glad you asked that question because that's the biggest conversation we're having amongst our own community now that the lineage standard's been passed in California. In the case of Oregon, the bill was suggested but not passed. It said that you had to have been living in Oregon for 2 years prior to applying, and they had a deadline written into the bill saying that you only had 2 years to apply, which would have been December 31st, 2022, which we just passed on the calendar year, right? So they need to rewrite the bill now, and I don't think there should be deadline. They had 400 years to mess our paperwork up. But to the question of can I move to Oregon tomorrow and apply for their reparations? I'm trying to argue that we should have eligibility no matter where we are in the country, whichever state passes that law first. As a freedman living in that state, we should have access to that reparations plan. I don't think it should be that I had to have been a San Franciscan born in San Francisco, and that is the issue with this San Francisco suggested bill. It says that you have to have been born between 1940 and 1996 in San Francisco, and you need to show that the eligibility is written in the Fox News article, that you have to have had a family member who had been affected by the drug war, some very specific criteria. But we should, as a community, be the ones to call into these task forces and tell them that in the same way people who are part of the military, if they relocate from one state to the next and they're receiving lifetime compensation from the military to offset, PTSD or costs or whatever, that number raises with the cost of living in that state. So someone receiving $3,000 from the military in Arizona would receive $4,500 in New York. So what I'm saying is that it should move with you instead of it having to be you go back to New York because you're from New York. But worst case scenario, I have a little brother who was born in California. He got a California birth certificate. I was raised out there, but I was born in Chicago. So we're all, as a family, all over the place. Black Native, as you're aware. So, and then WPI, you want me to mention the checkbox system. I've often argued that when we looked at the Evanston, Illinois so-called reparations plan, which is barely even a state act of atonement, right? They sent out surveys to the community. When I say they, I have to pin the tail on Cobra. The survey asked our own elders and people of our community whether they saw reparations as education or healthcare or housing, either or approach. I called into the California Reparations Task Force to say that we ain't going for no survey approach of an either or. It needs to be yes and California's already released a 6-page preliminary recommendation for what reparations could look like. And it has a lot of different subsections and bullet points. So there's at least 5 different ways you would receive compensation in California. And I imagine it as a checkbox system. I check a box as I go down. I was affected by the housing crisis. I was affected by PTSD from race-related stress. I was affected by environmental terrorism. Like, I want my 40 acres. I want a Tesla or an electric vehicle equivalent. Or I'll take that in cash. Like, we should be able to check all these boxes and have a lot of different choices for how we would see our future as, instead of it just being a check and do something with it. You know what I'm saying? Make it enough.
Cash, do you know?
Real quick, Black Native, real quick. Hold on, real quick. Let me go ahead because we got a couple hands up and I got to get to them. Let me get to Judge Sarah and Don real quick, and then we can come back around the room. Judge Sarah, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hi, thank you, Newstoter. I'll be real quick. I just kind of wanted to talk to Black Native real quick, because Black Native, I want to just commend you that you always show up for Black people, and it's clear that you love Black people. You always talking about calling, and when you do, you have to involve me in it. You have to let me know, give me the information. I have a YouTube account, and if we could, we can post it on YouTube, because that is the only way we're going to make them stop. They continue to do this shit to us because they can, and if everybody showed, they wouldn't be fucking with us the way that they do. And that's real. I really appreciate you, sister. I'm gonna stop there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Judge Sarah. Let me go ahead and Don, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Peace and love to the family. Newstoter. Rest in peace to your mom, dude.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Nah, brother. When you said that like, I didn't, a lot of people were losing a lot of people this year and last year. And I hope that everybody can put the heart for his mom. Because Newstoter, on Real Talk, you've been bringing thunder. And she raised a good person, dude. She was a good person.
I definitely appreciate that, Don. Thank you.
All right, brother. We love you, homie. Real talk. I'll lay my plane.
Thank you, Don. I definitely appreciate that shout out, man. And I definitely, she raised me to go try to get it. So I would definitely give her that. She was definitely my biggest critic and my biggest cheerleader. So I definitely appreciate that, Don. Definitely much respect to you, your family, much respect to everybody up in the space as well, too. I definitely appreciate that. Concerned Black, I know you were talking. You want to go ahead and finish your point?
Well, first of all, wow, I'm sorry about your mom, and here you are. That's tough. And bless your family. Oh my goodness. But anyway, gosh, yeah. Isn't it funny how things put things in perspective? And now when people pass, it feels especially sad. Because we're out here working, we're aware, we know we need reparations, and now, whenever somebody passes, I feel, it's just an extra dig that, that they left this earth without knowing that, we were going to get this job done. So I'm sorry to hear that. But back to the I'm going to get emotional. The San Francisco Cash, did you happen to ask the guy? Because I thought I read in the article that they actually were one shy of a vote. Is it in the voting process? Is there like a course of action that the community needs to take in any kind of sense of urgent fashion?
Yeah, he made it sound like they're only halfway through, similar to AB 3121, which released its interim report or its halfway report with the 500 pages and the recommendations. And it sounds like they're having Zooms and public hearings for people to read that draft report and suggest, doubling numbers, or if the AMI makes sense to tie it to that, stuff like, things that we were calling into the California AB 3121 to speak on. He didn't make it seem like you had to be from San Francisco to speak on it, and he was willing to give us Zoom links and stuff like that. I'm not sure if it's something that we can find online easily. He was talking to us through Clubhouse, and I remember what his name was on Clubhouse, but I didn't get his information. But all that to say, yeah, I don't think it's first of all, it's not a bill. It's not a bill that's suggested. It's a draft of demands suggested by San Franciscans who are Black Americans specifically, for the remedies of the harms that they survived. And obviously not just slavery, although slavery alone should be enough for a $5 million check. But he mentioned multiple different harms and stuff I hadn't, like I said, heard of before. And I was like, all right, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? 5 million sounds about right. But as far as who would it go to once it passes, I think that this is something that would sit in front of a mayor. I think he mentioned the mayor of London something. And then after that, it would just be, whether the governor, allocates funds. They're in a $97 billion surplus just last year. And now the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, I believe, is talking about addressing the homelessness, which were predominant. So yeah, that's I think where it is. There's not a bill yet, and it would have to be suggested once there gets to be more public input.
Final question is, I guess about the funding, but I guess that you just laid it out that it would go through the legislative process. But I just wanted to point out, just how positive all of this is, and that it really requires the people who are affected to get involved in terms of what documentation should be required, because you can, pretty much form or determine who is going to be eligible by the documentation that you require. But all of those things have to be determined by the people there. And I
Hey, Don. He did say one thing that was super interesting, and I don't know if it's going to raise flags or perks ears for people, but he said that of the 10 people who come to the meetings that he's had contact with and conversations with and led towards this 5 million figure, that only 2 of the 10 have been able to trace their lineage to slavery, with actual documents and stuff like that. And I mean, I haven't done my due diligence, you know what I'm saying? So how many of us actually had a paperwork ready? I don't know. But those people sitting on the task force who he believes are Black American, but they don't have their eligibility ready. He was mentioning that in the conversation to say that he's worried that if they're about being too specific or too specific, but he was worried only those 2 get the check. That's how he made it sound.
Worried about people on the task force being of the lineage. But anyway, I wanted to just point out that slavery was legal and genocide is illegal. And what the what San Francisco is paying for is what they did. So I don't understand why people are saying. I mean, I understand, but I don't agree with people saying that we're muddying the waters. If you say we're muddying the waters, I don't think you necessarily appreciate how much is owed to us and from the various, different angles and areas of harm. I mean, we are literally undergoing genocide, which is illegal in the United States and is the consequence of genocide in the United States is $1 million per charge. I wrote the case for reparations based on genocide on my Concerned Black American Citizens page is pinned to the top. And I just go through and I come up also with a figure of $4 million per descendant. So when I heard that number, I was like, yep, that sounds about right. And I was ecstatic that it wasn't completely tied to chattel slavery. And then I heard that white man say that. They say, okay, slavery was so long ago, but y'all are all fucked up now. So I got why that clicked with him. And I don't care, however it takes to get the check. But there's so much money, but we cannot negate, we can't cancel out genocide because genocide actually carries a monetary consequence with it. Slavery was legal, and it still is by exception in the 13th. Just want to throw that out there. We just got to learn to be more. I think everybody should read The Art of War and Negotiate.
Newstoter, can I jump in real quickly?
Yeah, real quick, and then DJ. I know DJ wanted to say something too. Go ahead.
Are you there, Cash? You know what? Listen, into the room, and I've suggested this, and I just don't have the time myself. Maybe later on I can, but someone needs to start a company that does it specifically, and it is geared towards reparations, where you do the lineage, where you create a company and you charge for a fee to trace their lineage. Along with that, if they do the DNA, they can trace the DNA to other descendants or relatives who had property or land stolen from them. I mean, I know this is a great idea, but I just can't do it myself because I've got a lot of stuff going on. If someone knows, I mean, do you guys understand? Companies win because they get up in the market at the right time.
Hold on, somebody got a hot mic. Hot mic, somebody. Mute your mics. Go ahead, Judge.
I think we should have to pay for that. I think the government should do it.
Okay, sweetheart, you know what? And I okay, so what I just heard you say is that you feel like you don't want to pay the government. And I understand that. And when I said that to someone, they gave me the same amount of pushback. But I'm not, I understand that's your position, okay? But there's people like me who don't have the time, and I will pay $2,000 because I don't trust the government, okay? So what I'm talking about, this is how you create wealth, is that you get in on a market when it's at the right time. And Cash, you sound like you on point with shit, so you understand what I'm saying. You're saying you don't want to pay, but since you don't want to pay, it's other people, like you said, out of 10,000 people, only 2 people came up with their lineage. This is an opportunity to make money and make sure it's done properly. And also maybe even discover other things. It's a guy on here named J.G. Bergen. He did his lineage, his blood type. He found that his ancestors were people who had their property stolen. He's in the midst of trying to get money and redemption for that. So I clearly understand if you feel like you rather have the government do it. I just don't trust the government in that regard.
No, I should have put that in different, but you're talking about like a future career of forensic genealogy, and I'm totally down with that. And
I'm
as a career,
now.
I'd like to see us. I'd like to see us pay. I'd like to see us paid to do the work, but us as clients not have to pay. So that's really what I mean. But the whole forensic thing, I'm totally here for that. Yes.
And you know what? And sis, that is the pushback that I got. I don't want to pay. And those are different types of people. I will pay to save time. I'm that person.
I would too. I feel you, but I would too.
And then, but this also, listen, I want to say, but you create the organization where you are like you have credibility because you are geared towards reparations. You are making sure that you dot I's and you cross T's, and you might even discover more stuff because the J.G. Bergen, he wanted the reparations to be based on your loss. I said no. If you have additional loss, you take that to court and sue the government in addition to your reparations. I'm talking about trying to get money, sister. Okay.
And let me retract what I just said because I don't want to confuse anyone from
No,
this
it sounds like you can do it.
idea.
That's like
I retract
you
what I
on point.
said.
You can help out. So,
Wait, can I just think there is a way. There is a way for people. There is a way for people to go that is a business idea for people to go in and quote unquote pay, but actually not pay. The government would pay for every person that came in, and we, an organization, would track the lineage. You know what I'm saying? Like a person could come in and say, track my lineage, but the government would pay per person.
Right.
And there you go. See what happens when you put black minds together? See that?
As soon as you fucking said that, I fucking texted my cousin like, yo, I got you. Because you're right. I don't have time. You don't have time, but she got fucking time. And yes, you can actually do that. Yeah, we don't have to pay. We can make them pay. They took our history. We can make them pay for giving it back to us. That's all
You
I
are
want to say.
absolutely right. When you create the organization, you petition the government because that will allow them to free up the government's space because they're going to have to pay someone anyway. And if it's an independent organization, they can be paid by the government. See, that's a great idea.
They do it all the time. They do it all the time for the homeless.
I love y'all.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. This is how you get money, sis.
They do it all the time. Unemployment, you can go into any unemployment facility, EDD, and you don't pay for the services and the workshops to get a job. You know what I'm saying? They charge the government, you know what I'm saying, for every person that comes in. So we could work that out.
Hey, real quick, everybody. Hey, real quick, everybody. I still want to kind of center this conversation back around the actual topics. I know we kind of going a little bit off, and you still is somewhat about the topics. But let's go ahead and try to get it back on the actual topic as much as we can. Let's talk about what's going on in San Francisco with the reparations. Let's talk about what's going on in Iowa as well, too. A sister lost her life. She was killed by a man, and he's out. Hasn't been charged by the police. So let's go ahead and try to just kind of get back on those actual topics because the space has only got about another 30 minutes left in it. So, DJ, let me go ahead and get the DJ, too, because DJ had his hand up. So, DJ, go ahead.
I just want to say, everybody cooking or whatever the case be, no harm. But at the end of the day, cash, that should be more than $5 million because, like you said, you didn't know about the 49ers. You didn't know about all the gold that was out there. Remember, black folks settled the West. Frederick Douglass, our ancestor, said, we leave the black state. You feel what I'm saying? Our southern black roots to go migrate just to get away from the white supremacists. We're going to lose state power. Yeah, he was right about that, but on the flip side, we built this country. So at the end of the day, it should be more than $5 million. They should get 10, 20 million. Just for all the gold that was extracted out that we'll never ever know because anybody was able to go to California and just start digging once they found out it was gold out there. You feel what I'm saying? Remember, we the original cowboys going west, Bass Reeves. Man, we should be having so much more. But at the end of the day, that's why I always will go hawk you about that checkbox. Yeah, you can give me the 5 million, 10 million, whatever it be. But hey, look, I'm gonna need that Tesla. I'm gonna need that GMC Yukon. No payment on it, no tax, no luxury tax payment on it. You know what I mean? Free gas, a gas card for the next 20 years. You know what I'm saying? All that shit, yo. We need all that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, though.
Real quick.
And I think reparations is supposed to follow you, if I'm not mistaken. And for the record, everything that we're talking about reparations per state is just that. It's just a state thing. It's not federal that we know. So we need to really start emphasizing, obviously on our state of where we come from. I think black natives, should look more towards where you're born at in New York to get your reparations because specific things happen out here on the East Coast. So that will result back into the checkbox, stop and frisk. Everybody was getting stopped and frisked in the tri-state area. You know what I'm saying? did you stop and frisk me because of my religion? That actually happened over here with the Muslims. They post 9/11. They was go back and forth between the tri-state, Jersey go to New York, have train, Amtrak, come back and on the bus, whatever, how we got to get there. Back and forth, people working each state, whatever, right? So the, Bloomberg, he was having his little fake task force follow the Muslims that was going back and forth with different mosques. You know what I'm saying? Like on a Friday, you know what I mean? And, obviously, we here for religious services and whatever we doing. It's late night, we come back late because we're in the city or whatever. So he had his little lackey, 12 dogs, you know what I'm saying? Follow all these Muslim people, you know what I'm saying? Back down to North Penn Station. And once they got out of North Penn Station, they would, catch them on the corner somewhere by Broad and just stop and frisk them. That actually happened to me, you know what I'm saying? Back in the 90s when me and my cousin was coming from, where he from in Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? So we got back to Rahway, New Jersey, late night, we was partying and shit, you know what I'm saying? So we, tore up or whatever, but we had the weed on us, you know what I'm saying? But these two fake transit cops tried to stop and frisk us, yo. Like, yo, if you don't get the hell up out of here. But at the end of the day, y'all really followed us all the way from Brooklyn. You followed us all the way from Brooklyn. Why didn't you stop us in Brooklyn, Manhattan, Jersey City? You feel what I'm saying? Before we North or any of these other places. That means you hawking us. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, meaning that I need to check for that, because at the end of the day, you had no intentions of stopping us anyway, because we wasn't doing nothing. We just riding the train to go home. You feel what I'm saying? You can't just stop and frisk people because you feel like it. And guess what? These were some tethers, yo. Real shit, all the way back in the 90s. I never forget that, yo. But go ahead, though.
Hey, let me real quick.
Just make sure people are United States citizens that are cut out on a lot of that, even if it's for mass incarceration, or say they have to have Negro or on their birth certificate.
Real quick, let me go ahead, and I see Mel. She just came up here, so let me go ahead and let Mel go ahead and say something. Mel, how you doing tonight?
Hey, what's up, Newstoter? Thanks so much for letting me speak. Shout out to the room. What's up, DJ and everybody else, co-hosts. I have a concern about the young lady in Iowa, because I feel like if that goes to court, that girl is not going to get justice. She should get justice because, according to what I read, she's made several complaints. They were ignored, etc., etc. But then when you look at the video, that white man can claim self-defense. And that's going to be the sorrowful part about it, is, this girl was denied any type of legal protection while she was living. And it's, I think she just got to a breaking point, which is what made her rush the woman in the red sweatshirt. So, but I just pray that she's going to be successful, in her passing, that these guys will be, that man will, and that woman will be sent to jail. But that's going to be a tough one. So we definitely got to pray on that piece there. And then, I wonder if with these San Francisco, if this comes to fruition, will that impact the reparations that's going on in California right now based on that? If it's, are they going to be able to get both? Or is there going to be a caveat that if you got it out of this city or that city?
That's why I'm saying it's all state now. So even the California AB 31, that's for housing discrimination. You know what I'm saying? That's why we need that checkbox that, hey, look, I've been discriminated for this, that, and third. Or housing, or stop and frisk me, or, I was in war and you didn't give me no GI money and housing and all this other stuff. We need the checkbox. So, don't look towards the states as much here with, I got to quote Yvette Carnell. Don't look towards the states. Whatever it is you can get from, that's just money, extra money in your pocket. Look towards the federal. But go ahead, though, man.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just, okay, that's good. That's reassuring, DJ, because I would hate for anyone to be disenfranchised, especially when they're trying to put these additional, stops and blocks on there, like, well, you have to live here for 10 years, or this, that, and 2/3. And the way the country has been going, people have had to move and, just to keep a roof over their head, that type of thing. So anyway, I hope none of these state endeavors impede upon the federal reparations once that finally happens. I land my plane, and thanks so much for letting me speak.
No problem. Christine, I see you got your hand up. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, just real quick, Christina Stomel, just real quick. It's the United States of America. Each state is its own country. You feel what I'm saying? The federal system allowed each state to have a hand in slavery, whether it be Jersey or Mississippi or California. And you got folks saying that there was no slavery out in California. None of that matters. We still started the West and had that taken from us. Do we have to bring up Bruce's Beach? You feel what I'm saying? But go ahead, Christine.
I was gonna say in relation to the woman that died is that like a week ago, a 13-year-old boy was just walking on the sidewalk, and the man shot and killed him and said he was trespassing. So there is no justice. You know what I'm saying? There's not going to be no justice for that black lady. There wasn't no justice for that boy. There wasn't no justice for the BLM cousin who just died and got tased to death. There was no justice for Sandra Bland, Ahmaud Arbery. There is no justice. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen. It's not coming. And as soon as we accept that fact that if they are not ever going to give us justice, we have to take it by force, because we can't talk them through it. We can't walk them through it. They are never going to soften their heart enough to put value on our bodies. So, no. You know what I'm saying? All these children that are dying, they are never going to give that woman justice. You know what I'm saying? So, and if we're not, I'm just saying.
I agree with
Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Just let Christina talk, because we ain't got that much time. Go ahead.
I'm going to keep it short. I'm just saying, like, talking about this poor woman that there ain't no justice. They just went into this 77-year-old lady's house and fucking trashed her house for no reason, because they don't give a fuck about her. There ain't no justice. We have to define what our problem is, and we determine what justice is. We can no longer leave it in their hands, because even with this anti-white supremacy law, all it is just them protecting themselves and categorizing white supremacy and not including the white nationalists and the terrorists, you know what I'm saying, and just the plain old crackers and Karens. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're still protecting themselves in this law that's supposed to be protecting us. No, we have to write these laws. We define what terrorism is for us, because they will never admit that shit. And if they won't admit their wrongs, they will never right their wrongs. You know what I'm saying? We will not have justice. You know what I'm saying? We just got to accept that. It's terrible. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I just feel, I don't know. That's all I got to say. Thank you. Landing my plane.
Can I respond to Christine?
Let me get to. I'm gonna get to you, Judge. But I see Empress.
You know what? I understand your
real quick, Judge.
Your hostility.
Hey,
and I
real quick, Judge. Let me get to Empress. She just came up here, and then you can go right after her. She just came. She had raised her hand right before you. So let me get to her real quick, and then I keep that thought that you got, Judge, and I'm gonna get right back to you.
Someone keeps muting me, Newstoter. Are you muting me?
That wasn't
I've
me.
been muted multiple times since I've been here.
That wasn't me, love.
Are you in the Matrix? Can you hear us?
No, someone keeps muting
No,
me.
that wasn't me.
No, I hear fine. What I'm seeing is you've been muted. If I can respond to Christine. Christine, let me explain something to you. I understand exactly what you're saying, but we don't have to be barbaric and aggressive. Okay, we're not the barbaric savages. We just need to show up. Kanye West said something about Jewish people. Real quick, Judge. Real
quick, because I didn't mute you there. One of the co-hosts had to mute you. I was trying to come back to.
She in the Matrix, man.
She's in the.
She
Can y'all not hear me? Can you not hear me, Christina?
Can you hear me, Judge?
Can you hear us though?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
What I see, DJ, is I keep being muted, and I hear you fine.
Okay.
Yes, Judge, because they want to say what they're going to say, and then they're going to let you speak right after.
No, I'm going to let Empress had her hand up. That's why
I'm trying to respond to what you said.
I know, but they want you to wait your turn. That's what they're saying. That's all they said. Was like,
did someone say that?
Yeah, I've been saying. I keep saying, let me get the Empress first, Judge, then I'm going to get to you.
Yes. Just 1 second.
That's what I said, because she just came up. I said, let me get the Empress, and I'm going to get right back to you. Can you hear me, Judge? Can you hear me?
Judge, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I heard you told me to wait 1 second.
No, you heard me, but you didn't hear him, because you are in the Matrix, girl. You are.
Okay, did you hear what I said?
He said he was gonna let Empress talk and then you, but then everybody was saying that you were in the Matrix because you really are in the Matrix, girl. So, come back. Yeah.
So are you telling me you don't hear me?
No,
Judge,
I hear you, but you don't hear them.
Real quick, Christina.
Okay, I'm sorry I don't hear the host, but I'm attempting to speak to you. Can you hear me?
Oh boy.
That's simple, man. Just keep it simple.
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you, but out of respect, out of the room.
Empress, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Say what now? Okay. Peace, power, and reparations, family. I am on board with everything that Sister Christina said. Go on, sis, talk that shit. Let me tell you something. I've been saying this for years. We are our own solution. You understand what I'm saying? We keep looking to everybody else to fix this and figure it out. But no, everything that we need to solve every problem that we have is amongst us. And we must tap into that resource, you know? And listen, well, the police and the judge and the court, no. It's just us. You know, if we want it to stop, we have to stand up, push whatever's keeping us down and make it stop. It's on us, Black Americans. We have to come together and make it stop because that's it. That's all we need. There's nothing else. They're not going to help us. They never intended to help us. And that's fine. That's cool. But we have to do it. Seriously. I'm just waiting. I'm like, seriously, I'm locked and loaded and I'm just waiting for us to let's get it. Stop depending on these people to do anything and everything for us. It's just not worth it. They're not going to. They don't care. How many times and how many signs and symbols do they have to keep showing us that they just do not? And it's okay. You know why? Because we backed by the most mightiest force. And that's our ancestors. They got us. Tap into them and they're going to show you that we got this. That's all we need, family. That's all we need. I love y'all. Stay empowered. And tap into your ancestors and let them know, listen, yeah, I know you here, and I know you got us, and I'm recognizing you, and I'm calling you out. We need you now. Peace, power, reparations.
Real quick, Empress. I saw your DM, and yeah, I definitely just tag me some of your posts or some of your articles you wrote, and let me catch up on them. And I definitely we definitely could do something like that. So
I didn't write an article, brother, but I need you on this one. This one's gotta go out there, but we'll speak on the back channel.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. I'll be for the next few days. I'll probably be pretty busy, whatever. So going into next week, go ahead and just keep and just because I get a lot of DMs, so just stay up on it so I don't forget. But I got you. So just stay up on me. Let me if I miss in a few days, you don't hear anything back. I just got a lot going on, so just stay in touch with me, and we can go ahead and we can do that. We can put it on the newstoter.com platform if you want or whatever, how you want to do it. So we can do that, okay?
Hey, don't forget the Newstoter platform on social too. You can post it in the Newstoter community on social app, SOXCIAL.com. Okay, Empress, SOXCIAL.com. Go ahead.
All right, Judge. Can you hear us now?
I can't hear. I don't know. I had muted on my phone that you're being muted by the host. So if someone was speaking, I didn't know. But anyway, Christina, I want to say to you, first of all, I know that you are a real good critical thinker. I already know that. And a lot of times we make decisions based on our emotions. We do not, and I'm getting emotional, we don't have to be barbaric and angry. No, they're not going to save us. But as I said, 20,000 tweets got Kanye West kicked off of Adidas. We only need to show up. Black natives said we're going to call. If 100,000 people call a police department, a company, see what it is, they fuck with us because they can. And this is not about they doing it for us because they love us or they feel any kind of way. When you make noise and you protest, it costs the state and the city money. Okay? Like in the case of that black girl who shot the mad because they found her innocent and with self-defense because they don't want to cause any conflict. When you cause conflict in these states and cities, it disrupts their revenue, their business. We only need to show up, Christine. We ain't got to beat nobody up. We ain't got to shoot nobody. We just
Judge, I know, and I feel you on that. No, I feel you on that. It's pen and paper, baby. You got to realize it's pen and paper. Okay? And look.
Real quick, Christina, let her finish up real quick.
Okay.
I'm okay with her interjecting because you feel me though, right, sister?
No, I feel you 100%. Like, yeah, we can keep this lady like. No, I understand. Like, yeah, we gotta keep this lady like, be lady like, stay lady like. But you know when I give you that motherfucking look, there's a whole lot more than a lady that's coming with that look, and we have to build up that look. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want something, we got it. You know what I'm saying? We gotta build up that confidence, that platform. Like, if you try me, play me, because motherfuckers are gonna try us, and we gotta have that influence and that power. They're going to test us to see if we are truly organized and see if we can truly sway the vote. You know what I'm saying? And when that moment happens, no, it's gonna happen, and I'm pen and paper for real. But at the same time, it's like you take these laws and policies.
You don't have time to go back and forth. Land your plane, please.
I'm gonna land my plane. Just saying the same time we have these policies. I'm very much eye for an eye, and my mama told me I was barbaric, okay? Because I'm very much eye for an eye, okay? If my son does not come home, your husband does not go home. You know what I'm saying? If my husband don't go home, your husband don't go home. And if whatever it is, by pen, paper, sword, however you want to have that smoke, I'm about that life. You know what I'm saying? We could do it nice or we could do it easy. You know what I'm saying? No, for real. We could do it nice or we could do it easy. But if my husband don't come home, your husband is not going home. You know what I'm saying? And you can figure out if you want to take him, you can figure out where he go home. But you not gonna live with your privilege and your husband puffing up his chest that he fucking killed my brothers, my husband, my children. You know what I'm saying? Living his life in white privilege? No. So I am about that paperwork. I will write the shit for all of us. But I am fucking standing right in the fucking front of the line, and I wish a motherfucker would. Do not touch us. And I'm about that. You know what I'm saying? I swear to God. And I'm not going to celebrate.
Judge, please mute your mic, yo. We have to get to other folks that want to talk. Let Christina land, please.
Yeah, Christina, landed in about 40 seconds, Christina.
No, I don't even need 40 seconds. I'm actually in a celebratory mood. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going after Karen, yo.
DJ, you continue to mute me.
No, Mama, don't tell.
I'm muting you right now because you won't stop talking. I don't know if that's your phone and you don't hear us. We done said it 1,000 times. You can run this tape back. Judge, come on now. Go ahead, Christina. Just don't come off your mic. That's all, Judge.
I'm letting my plane. As smart as I am. Judge, chill. Yeah.
Go ahead, say what you're going to say. She up out of here.
I was going to say, I'm in a celebratory mood. You know what I'm saying? And I'm working with lawyers. I'm going after Karen's, honey. I'm all about reparations, but I'm still about that life. We're going to put motherfuckers in jail, in prison, whatever we got to do. Because I'm super nice. I wish I could go to every single one of those cities.
Wait, hold on real quick. DJ, would you disconnected the judge? Yeah,
because you're not listening. It's just really that simple. I'm not trying to be funny or disrespectful. You have some decorum, man. Either your phone messed up, you're not listening, or you don't hear us. One or the other. Which one? I'm
going to approve her, and I'm going to talk to her real quick about this because the space is almost over with. Judge, the space is almost over with. Christina, go ahead and land your plane. We're going to go ahead and get it because I see we had another hand up. So we're just trying to go ahead and get the people before the space is over with. So, Judge, give us a second. We'll get back to you. Let me get to Christina. Thank you. Let me get to who is that? That Negro, I think.
Yes, and I've said enough. And Karens are criminals. I land my plane.
Okay, thank you.
All right, my go, y'all. My page got clipped. Peace, power, and Negro reparations to the room. Thank you, Newstoter, for the space.
co-host. I appreciate you. Good stuff. My page got clipped. This is round one of me starting over, still pushing for our people. So please give me a follow, y'all, so I can.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead and finish saying what you're saying, that Negro.
Yes, sir. I was just saying my page got clipped. So this is a new page. Starting over, reach out, send me a follow. I'm in here so I can see what's going on, stay on top of things, and keep moving forward. I appreciate the space. I yield.
All right. Thank you. Judge Sarah, go ahead and unmute your mic.
You know, I keep trying, and what happens, Newstoter, when Christine interjected, I have no problem with her interjection. I'm respectful when people want to be passionate, so I'm mindful, but I keep being disrespected. But I'm gonna let that go, and I do want to get this point across. And Christine, if you'll let me without interrupting me, and I understand you're angry. The problem is they try us because we don't show up. We ain't got to shoot nobody. We ain't got to kill nobody. We ain't got to fight nobody. If they know black people will show up when you fuck with them, they won't fuck with you. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Like black niggas say, I'm going to call. I'm going to do this. If they knew that we would show up, they would fuck with us. Period. I'm going to land there.
All right. Thank you, sister. Thank you. Thank you. I see we got Ani. Ani, go ahead and unmute your mic. Are you there, Ani? Okay, I think he must have had some issues with it. So we're going to get to our last couple of speakers. It's going to be real quick because the space is ending at 9. So, Cash, go ahead in about a minute and go ahead and get your point across.
I just want to reiterate, which I don't do often, but just for those who haven't heard, again, in San Francisco specifically, there's a reparations committee of which the members have been pinned up above. All are Black American, different economic, socio statuses, and they demanded $5 million as a lump sum, plus 250 years of $97,000 a year. But they're looking at trying to tie that to inflation, the cost of living, because right now that 97 is based on the area median income. These are things that we can champion in our respective cities and states, separate from the federal claim, of which we're owed all those different checks, plus land and other forms of compensation. I just wanted to reiterate, $5 million is a lump sum, plus 250 years of 97,000, which we need to up that number. But I'm glad that they suggested this. We need to find out when the public testimonies are for San Francisco and just alert them to other things going on. And lastly, I'll say this: never fret. You know what I'm saying, my people, because California has a lineage-based standard already set up for the whole state of California with reparations and a deadline. So San Francisco fits within California. And with that, I rest my thanks, Newstoter.
No doubt. Empress, let me just say this real quick. I'm down. I saw the photo and the video. I'm down, sister. Give me next week. We can set something up. We can coordinate this together. I am definitely down. I'm in. So, yeah, it is what it is. We can go ahead and we can do that. So, Ani, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. And thank you for having the space again, Newstoter. And shout out to everybody else. Just saying that we got to keep our foot on their necks. I'm trying to help community become a little bit more spiritual and intact with their indigenous roots, as well as pushing reparations here in Columbia, South Carolina. Marcel Dixon has organized with us to start the Black Caucus here in South Carolina. So we're doing our due diligence in our meetings on WhatsApp and other apps to sit down with a state representative this week and push action on what we need to do. But as far as the last couple of people that were in here, I'm not gonna say no names, just we gotta stay away from the babble. A lot of people be babbling, and the babble has gone to a upscale level than what it used to be, because I feel like we're getting closer, and I feel like there's some sleeper cells amongst us, even if they don't know it or not, that want to push this thing into an emotional matter based on circumstances dealing with them. And it has nothing to do with personal emotional matters. We have to say the right things. We have to execute on levels of legislation, not just what we think in our opinions. And we have to be very mindful that this isn't just something for one person or anything like that. This is for our entire group and our descendants to come. So with that being said, we have to take the matter more serious and stop getting these people up on the stage. As soon as we hear babble, and I love how you hold your spaces, Newstoter, and my brother DJ over there. But we need to get the babblers off stage and get back to business quicker. The babbling needs to quit because we're getting closer and closer, and we're wasting time. It's time-wasting mechanisms when they're just going off, and nobody is really rocking with what they're saying. We're just being respectful. Nah, fuck all that respect. And I didn't mean to use that in that language, but it's getting too serious right now, and I'll end with that.
All right, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it, Ani. Let me just go ahead and say this real quick again. Tomorrow, I'm not sure if I'm going to be in. Matter of fact, DJ, hold it down 1 second for me. I got a call. Hold it down.
Go ahead, handle the business real quick. Hey, y'all, I'm gonna play a little bit of newscast real quick. It's only about
Hello?
It's about the sister that got stabbed up in Cedar Rapids. So let's listen to what the mother said real quick.
No, I'm good.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
The hardest part is, y'all done kept me up. It's no normal, nothing. They knocked on my door.
The wait for answers continues tonight, almost a week after the first homicide of 2023 in Cedar Rapids. 29-year-old Devonna Walker was stabbed last Monday night on the northeast side, died after being taken to the hospital. We know 2 people were detained and questioned that night, but they've been released since then. Really, we haven't heard anything about the case in these past 6 days. Tonight, though, we're hearing from Walker's mother as she and a lot of others wonder what's holding things up. It's an Eyewitness News Council.
I found out at 6:30. I get a phone call saying that she was stabbed.
That's how LaShawn Bowles learned about the stabbing that killed her daughter. Devonna Walker died on January 2nd after that stabbing at Cambridge Town Homes in northeast Cedar Rapids.
My son said I would go up there and check because I was at work. And he texted me and said that she didn't make it.
Bowles says since that night at the hospital, the only time she's talked with police was a visit to them she made herself.
Friday, I went to the police station and I wanted to know what's going on. How come no one's knocked on my door? No police, nobody's contacting me. I don't know, I don't even know what my baby had. I ain't seen her since it's all happened.
While she waits for answers, Bowles is now taking care of Walker's 3 kids, 2 boys, and a 10-week-old girl.
She just had the little girl, so she was very thrilled about that. She didn't want a girl.
There's a group planning a peaceful protest outside the Lane County Courthouse tomorrow morning at 9. They're pushing for more information in the case as well. Cedar Rapids police tell us tonight there aren't any updates they can release right now.
Okay,
all right.
That particular one was 9 days ago, just to let y'all know. So this is about to be 10 days old, and it's just kind of just getting to it. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I'm back, y'all. So I want again thank you guys for joining us tonight. DJ, you gonna run a part 2 of this space right here? If I get a chance, I'll try to come up in there a little bit later on if you got one going. Yeah, y'all make sure it's gonna be part 2. DJ gonna follow up. Ray is still early too, so you could definitely hold it down, co-hosting with him for a little bit. So we're gonna do a part 2 of this. Like I say, Empress, we definitely gonna go ahead. Yeah, we'll definitely go ahead and start working on that next week, sister. Let me go ahead and clear my head, put my mom to her final resting spot. And then next week we will definitely go ahead. We will in the back channel, we will go ahead, we'll organize that. Speak to the individual and see how they feel about how they want to go ahead and coordinate that as well too. So that will definitely, that's something that needs to be out there. So we definitely got to go ahead and put that out there as well. So we're gonna definitely
I'm gonna send you my map on the back channel because I've been conversating with this brother and a whole bunch of other people. So I definitely want you to be a part of this as well. So I got you. Appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. No, that's what we're here for. So, I mean, that's what we got to do. We got to go ahead. And that's why I got to tell everybody in the space, That's why I say in that jumbotron, when we have certain things, we need to go ahead and tweet this stuff out. So yeah, it's great to blow up the phone call of the police station as well too. But when they start seeing 100,000 views on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and putting this stuff out there, then they have to go ahead and respond to that stuff as well too. They can, after a while, their phones will get busy and tied up. You can't get through. But if they see something that went viral, showing the actual nonsense that they're promoting and whatnot, then they have to go ahead and speak up on it. So that's why I say about the young lady that was up in the jumbotron, the story tonight, the young lady got killed in Iowa, Devonna, we need to go ahead and tweet that out. Everybody in the space, I kept saying, go ahead and tweet that out, tweet it out, tweet it out, tweet it out, tweet it out. Make these people have to talk about it. When stuff starts going viral on social media, it starts going viral in the mainstream news as well too. So we got to look at it like that there. But on that note, y'all,
That's fact. That's absolute fact what you said. My one tweet, it didn't get a lot, but it went out there, and it was so effective that the U.S. attorney called me. So
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. We got to use our power. That's why we need you guys to help us grow on YouTube as well. I say subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're following us. Hell, if you got a Facebook page, I hadn't posted nothing on Facebook in a few days, but if you got a Facebook, follow Newstoter on Facebook, Instagram. I ain't posting nothing on Instagram in a minute, but follow us on the platforms and stuff like that. And keep the content when you see it, man. Go ahead and retweet it out there, comment, like it, share it as much as you can. Let people know what's going on. I put something out today that this lady got suspended for calling for a teacher, I believe, calling Martin Luther King Day nigga day. So, I mean, it's stuff like that, man. We got to go ahead and put the pressure on these people as well. So thank you to everybody who came out in the space today. Make sure you're getting that jumbotron and you subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter as well, too. Also, support us if you can on Cash App, $Newstoter. That's the only way Black business could grow we can't grow without our actual people, our fans. So our fan base, our followers, our listeners, our subscribers, we cannot grow. We cannot put the stories out there if we're not getting backed by our people. So if you can support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black American-owned news curation platform today in America. If you don't have an actual Cash App, then we have the PayPal and Venmo. I tweet it out daily. If you guys see it, even if you're not in the space, if you can, go ahead. If you got $1 that you can go ahead and donate, $1 counts. So on that note, y'all, I will see about if I'm going to hold a space tomorrow. I'm going to see how I feel tomorrow. If not, I'll be back either Sunday or Monday. Definitely DJ. It was going to be holding the space tonight on this because this conversation needs to continue. So I have family coming in town. My older sister, she's about to pull up in a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to holler at you guys. And thank you for coming out as always to the host, the co-host, the listeners, everybody who went ahead and shared. Might not have got any donations tonight, but still thank you guys anyways. We still gonna go ahead and still, when we hold these spaces, we still gonna ask for those who can to donate. That's the only way we can do it. So on that note, you guys, see you. I hope to be up in the space later on tonight. If I don't make it, please come out there and still support this. Keep this message going. So you guys take care and I'll see you then.
Peace, my brother. God bless.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate that as well, too, family. Appreciate all the love I got from everybody. And let me just say, shout out real quick. Thank you, Chrissy, for your contribution real quick before I close it out. Thank you.